Hi, dear Toastmasters, guests, and friends. Welcome to Toastmasters, the world's biggest platform to hone your leadership skills and communication skills. At Toastmasters, we pride in calling where leaders are made. Not just leaders, confident leaders. Not just speakers, confident speakers. Tonight on our talk show, I have a special friend. Division G director, a Toastmaster who has presented in multiple conferences on the relation between using technology that can connect audience with exhibitors. Without any further ado, let us welcome our guest tonight, Toastmaster Mike Ryan, onto our talk show. How are you doing?
Great, I'm doing great. Great to be here, by the way. And yeah, you do look like George Clooney and Steve Jobs. I really do think. Has anybody ever asked you that? That's what I want to know.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mike. You made my day out of the bat. But
It,
how's your day been so far?
it's been a great day. Today is Monday. It's very important because today, I don't know if you know, there are many things happening today. There's Columbus Day. There's Indigenous Peoples Day. There's Mental Health Day, and for all you Canadians out there, hey, it's Thanksgiving in Canada, so I'm expecting those turkeys sent to me tomorrow.
Sounds very tasty to Toastmaster Mike. Thanks a lot for reminding our audience regarding the significance of today. Toastmaster Mike, I ask all my guests this question is your Toastmasters journey. Where did it start? How did it start? Would you like to share something about that?
Sure, a partially scrutable Providence has used Toastmasters to evince its special interest in Mike Ryan. When I was in college, my last semester was spent in the New York State Senate, in which I learned many speaking styles, politics, everything that goes with it, the lifestyle, the dress, everything there was. And it was amazing. It was something I could not get out of me. I had to go into media. I had to learn how to speak. I learned how to make gestures. Facial. I needed, facial gestures, things like that are so important in today's world, and it always has been. I've been a Toastmaster since 2006, so yes, I knew Plato and I knew Socrates, and believe me, Socrates was no Plato. But I learned something very important. My journey began when I was in media sales, when I was a pitchman, and I pitched some of the best features, what I consider on earth. Who wouldn't want to sell Marmaduke? Who wouldn't want to sell peanuts? Who wouldn't want to sell Jack Anderson, Patrick Buchanan, Mike Peters? I mean, some of these people to this day are huge and known the world over. I have met them and had to present about 100 different presentations through my life there at United Features. I've worked for Disney. I've worked for Hanley Wood. I have done things all the way from scientific journals to World of Concrete. Everything from in person, in print, and interactive. Well, where does that leave my Toastmasters journey? Because one of my favorite jobs and one of my favorite job interviews was a company out of Santa Barbara who wanted to see me, and I'm out of Boston. So I fly to Santa Barbara and I meet this guy, Ron, who's a wonderful orator, knows everything. I said, this is a guy I need to get behind. So the first meeting we have is not a desk to desk. It's not a resume. We go hiking in Santa Barbara. We go up hills and down hills. And believe it or not, I was 30 pounds heavier than him. And I didn't know if I could make it. I said, this is tough. And he said, yep, these California people, that's what they're looking for. And then the next thing is he says, I'm a Toastmaster. And I think that it's important for everyone to at least go through the syllabus of Toastmasters. All of my salespeople do. And his salespeople were great. I went to a meeting and Ron gave a humorous speech. It was hysterical. He was like Woody Allen on fire. This guy was ironing, facial expressions, and he kept working with me on this. The first meeting I ever did in Toastmasters was that night. And believe it or not, I met some people that were even politics. One of the persons I met was a guy by the name of Hamlin. I said, Hannibal Hamlin? And everyone goes, you know Hannibal Hamlin? Yeah. Abraham Lincoln's first vice president. Sure enough, he was a relative, and he gave speeches about him. I love this. Needless to say, in United Future Syndicate, working with all these famous people and pitching these people, I took a course with Dave Hagenbach, and he was supposed to be one of the best, period, media sales. I can tell you one thing. Toastmasters taught me 3 times as much at probably a 1/16 of the price. And what I realized when I got into Toastmasters was all the great things that you learn. And the 2 things that I wanted most, Vera, were communications and learning and leadership skills. And guess what Toastmaster does? That's what Toastmaster does. And I just said, this is wonderful. And I said, well, what's communication? Let's go into communication. And I work with so many Toastmasters, and I came up with this: communication happens when one speaks through the filters of one's own experience and knowledge, realizing that one is being heard through the filters of others. I learned live communication, eye to eye. I learned for the first time live, experiential, getting that confidence to do that. Then I needed to be a leader because I wanted to be a sales manager. I wanted to go up, be a publisher, and everything else. So when I look at leadership, I remember someone said something, and of course it was a Toastmaster who gave me these words that leadership is the art of getting someone else something you want done because that person wants to do it. Wow. And for so little money. I was hooked. I was addicted. As I said before, I started in 2006. I continue on the journey today, and I believe it's going to be even bigger and better. I cannot tell you how it has changed my life. I had shared with you a document on I got a 4.66 out of 5 rating on an exhibit speech I gave in the Healthcare Convention Exhibitors Association, and that was Toastmasters. I could say I would like to see it to be. It was Toastmasters. It was all the syllabus that I had learned. I got my CC back in the old days. I went to Pathways. I went everything that I could do to be a better speaker, and I hope I'm a good speaker. There's still always a way to go, though. So that, in a nutshell, is really my first journey with Toastmasters.
Amazing, Toastmaster Mike. If you could be a spokesperson for a district, you would never have shortage of members. Amazing journey. The way you articulated was unbelievable. Toastmaster Mike, now we know the reason why you joined Toastmasters for the communication leadership. What keeps you at Toastmasters? You talked about it a little, but what keeps you at Toastmasters these days?
I remember the baseball player Ted Williams. He was the last 400 hitter in baseball. He never missed a practice. He could have never missed a practice. There's always something to learn. There's another curveball coming at you. There's another slider. Someone's throwing sidearm. There's so many speeches out there. And sort of like, I like to be fast, smart, competitive. And I like to see my other Toastmasters. I want to know what they're doing, how they're doing it. I want to see the gestures. I want to see the eye contact. I want to see their whole aura, if you will, on either the small screen or live, or even hybrid, which is another challenge. There are so many challenges. I think that the future is bright, as I said before. And I like the future because I intended spending the rest of my life there. So I think Toastmasters is the way to go. I cannot tell you more about why it's just an addictive nature that is so great about Toastmasters. I think the people relationships, I think it's very Zen-like, that the strength of the wolf is the pack and the strength of the pack is the wolf. I've never seen an association. I've been, honestly, maybe 20 or 30 associations. I would go to somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 30 sometimes conventions in a year. And that's all Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. You know the drill. You know the drill. And I just say, I haven't really met anything quite like Toastmasters.
Unbelievable. Thank you for sharing that, Toastmaster Mike. Dear Toastmasters, practice makes perfect. As Toastmaster Mike said, Even if you're a distinguished Toastmaster, please come and attend your Toastmaster Club meetings. There's something different that you can learn. There's so many pathways. That's well said, Toastmaster Mike. Toastmaster, now we move to our second segment. Is your impact of Toastmasters on your personal life, professional life, social and spiritual life? Are there a couple of anecdotes that you'd like to share with us?
Yes. The first one I had mentioned before in Healthcare Conference and Exhibitors Association. Another was I had a sales call on a company called American Water, and they were privatizing a water supply in South Jersey near Philadelphia. I had a rough time. The magazine that I had didn't have water in the title, and immediately I was on the outskirts. But an ad agency, I convinced an ad agency that you should hear me. I built a presentation that to this day, I consider one of my best. I still have a copy of it, and this is going back right away. And I remember building confidence, and I remember Brian Tracy's book about the salesman for Gould's, and he was a Gould's pump guy, and he was young, he was inexperienced, but every night he would look at himself at and this is usually a hotel mirror, not my home. I'm the best. I'm the best. I'm the best pump salesman. I am the best presenter. I am the best this. I am whatever the subject was. I'm the best. I'm the best. He got it into his subconscious. Toastmasters does this. Get into your subconscious that you're the best. Don't worry about the negative. Most people, believe it or not, think more negative than positive. But if you can practice, I'm the best. I'm the best. You'll be there. Sure enough, when I get into this meeting and I get into the presentation, the ad person says, now you're not selling, Mike, you're just presenting the magazine. No prices, no anything else. We just want to know the content. We want to know the circulation values, the leadership, the editorial, the advertising, the marketing. What do you bring? What do you bring to the party? So I brought all these things, and then I brought data. Back in the day, I had amazing amounts of data that none of the magazines I knew had. They were going after their circulation. I was going off data of what they were buying, what municipalities were buying, and what they were selling. And all of a sudden, one of the big C-level executives who I'm in the pitch stops and he goes, how much? How much? And I thought the advertising person was going to throw a knife at me. He stopped and he bought within 3 minutes. He said, that's exactly what I'm looking at. You read my mind. He said, all these people in the magazines, everything, they're talking about their circulation and their reach and everything else. I want to know the data. I knew I had the data. I did my research, and it was like the little engine that could. I'm the best. I'm the best. Water Waste Digest, Water Engineering and Management, all these, they don't have anything that I had. I just remember that was also, when I was a Toastmaster, developing that skill and just saying, forget about it. This is you, and that's all there is to it. You need you really need to enunciate. You need to stop with the ahs and the ums, because they can read. They just can read fear when you're giving a presentation. Don't let you beat yourself. Toastmasters.
Amazing, Toastmaster Mike, amazing. If we all practice that, we could also be confident while giving our speeches. Thank you for sharing that. Toastmaster Mike, now for the guests watching this show, what are the 2 things or 3 things that you would say for them to come and join Toastmasters?
If you want an experiential journey into something that could actually improve you 3 to 20 times fold, go to a Toastmasters meeting. Set aside some of the stereotypes of what good speaking is. Listen to Toastmasters. Look at the Pathways journey. Being that I'm a researcher, if you would, Google how many Toastmasters there are. 300,000? How many countries? Huge. It is a worldwide movement, probably one of the biggest. I encourage you, prospective person, to go to as many clubs as you'd like. A lot of times it's free. The cost is very minimal. Even if you join, it's very, very minimal. But bring into mind your passion. And is it professional? Is it social? Is it even economic? Don't be afraid to voice what's in you. And Toastmasters will help you get that out. It will be a faster, smarter, and more competitive way than trying to do it yourself, or going to a $1,000 or $2,000 course, going to a sales conference or something where all you talk about is one thing. Diversity, what you are. I think it's very important to realize that Toastmasters is almost 100 years old. There's something to it. It has transcended electronic, in-person, interactive. It has even gone into other modes of communication. We are now into software that's helping the ahs and the oohs. We are progressing just as everything else is progressing. It's so old, it's new. Try it.
Thank you for the appeal, Toastmasters Mike. I think our guests would really be inspired and will join a club near their office or home or virtual, any club in the world. Thank you for sharing that. Toastmasters Mike, now we move to our fourth segment, which is the rapid fire round. Are you ready for some fun?
Oh, this should be fun. Sure.
Thank you, Toastmasters Mike. Toastmasters Mike, a historic leader that inspires you a lot.
I'd have to say that I love Gandhi. I found Gandhi to be a man who, you look at this man in this white suit, what do you want to call it? He basically, true speaking, and his earnestness of his heart, liberated 48 countries from the British Empire. One man. And it was not about violence. It was about love. It was about the fact that if you killed somebody who was of a different religion, that you raise your child of that religion, not yours. That is so beautiful to me that I just can't. I know that a lot of people, Martin Luther King, JFK, the usuals in America. I really think you got to take a look at Gandhi. I mean, MLK loved Gandhi. He took most of the stuff from Gandhi. He was just this never-ending fire of hope. I'd have to give two or three things, being that I represent politicians and I've met some. I love that. Here's another person, polio. We have nothing to fear but fear itself. Then he has December 7th. There was nothing that this man, you threw anything at him, there was nothing that he couldn't say something about and make you feel better. And when you felt better, the results were there. Teddy Roosevelt, he was shot. 86-minute speech, he was shot. He was shot and kept talking. Amazing. Abraham Lincoln, 77 years ago. It's just amazing. Maya Angelou, I can't even, wow. I actually worked with the Open Cage Theater in Mount Vernon, New York. I had the occasion to meet her, and it was just wonderful. I think that when you take a look at it, it's such a hard question. It's like I've sold books, and people ask me, I think you probably asked me what my favorite book was. And actually, I do have a favorite book, and it's a cheating thing, and I have it on my desk. And it's speeches, and it's the 100 greatest speeches at this time that were ever given. And it goes through every type of speech you could have. It goes through every corner of the world, every religion. It really encompasses, to me, what Toastmasters is. We're everything. We're everywhere. We have to embrace ourselves as being this international organization with great growth and great understanding. That's one of my favorite books. So if you have any other questions about it, I could go through some other books, but I've sold some. As a salesperson, I had audiobooks, and basically I got 2 audiobooks a month from this. It's actually a Harvard type company. It was sponsored by them, where it's what a salesperson in technical sales needs to know. So at the end of the year, I figured 24 books. I've done this for 6 or 7 years. It was important to be able to present ideas and to also quote them from the right reference from where they were. And I thought that was just terrific. So it's a usability. Other books I like 1421. 1421 is the book about the Chinese colonizing the Americas before Columbus. Of course, my Scandinavian friends said, we did that in 500. But anyway, no, they didn't, because it would be different today. But also, I would say 1453, when Constantinople changed to Istanbul. Great book on Mehmet, and I love that book. The next book, of course, is 1776. So my wife goes, what is this? You have to have the years on the book. I said, well, it's easy to remember. But these are books that just inspire me. And I would, any Toastmaster, I would definitely recommend these books. But the first one is the greatest 100 speeches ever given. Amanda Gorman is not in the book, and I think that's one that needs to be put in.
The new edition will definitely have her. Thank you for sharing your book recommendations as well. Toastmaster Mike, a historic speech that is very close to your heart and that inspires you a lot.
I would say 3. I'm going to cheat. By far and away, I have a dream. 4 words. 4 words. Got to the point. I would think that the Gettysburg Address. Very short. The person before Lincoln went on for 3 hours. He went on for 10 minutes. And believe it or not, you talk about copies. After Lincoln gave that, I saw the 4 copies that he wrote. He had 4 versions of it. After he gave that speech, he went to his secretary and said, well, that went over like a wet blanket. He thought it would never, just as he wrote, this will never be remembered. I would say FDR. Tremendous speaker. Fireside chats, tremendous communicator. A person who I just revered so well, especially under having polio and going through what he had to go through. Just tremendous. Nehru. I love Nehru's speech. And anyone who can get that, and it's in the book, about Gandhi. And he was talking about his last line about Gandhi was just, it was just beautiful to me. It was about, we should be so lucky to that part that we really didn't even deserve this guy who was so great. And I just loved how Nehru could do it in 4 or 5 sentences. And he did it on television also. Great speaker. I think also there's another speech, and I'm going to cheat. I won't go on and on, but Muhammad, about turn your face to thy holy mosque. What a great speech. Again, not very long. With that being said, I just like a lot of speeches, I guess.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that, Toastmaster Mike. Now the tough one. Your personal favorite speech when you delivered, you felt, I did a great job. Any speech that comes to your mind?
I think my next speech, being a Toastmaster in the afternoon, it's always my next speech, and that's sort of a cheat. But I'll tell you that the last one, I did 2 that I am very happy with. One of them was about health, and it was humans powered in logistics and processes. And it was about the growth of 501c3s through America, of nonprofits and charity-based and subject-based. And what it was that these entities need leadership and help in everything, in getting like a 990 form done, about taxes, about all the things you need to do that you didn't think you needed to do. And that's another thing. Toastmasters helped me there. When I was in association, Toastmasters, I worked with 501c3 like 20 years into my experience. And it was so different than a private company that, it was all about profit. It was about margins. It was about that thing instead of the cause. It could be both. But anyway, that's another thing about Toastmasters. But getting back to bringing this help speech was, I noticed how many Toastmasters would give me in the chat, good idea. Don't ask what your country could do for you, what you could do for your country. In this case, Toastmasters. Just do it. Just do it. It would be a good thing. The second one, which might be my first one, was I did a speech called BLM. BLM, most people call Black Lives Matter. I did it Black Like Me, about a white man in 1960 who worked for Sepia magazine, who actually could pass as black by pigmentation here. They did surgery. This man was a sociologist. He worked with Sepia magazine, I think, as I said before. He thought, like everything else, I'll just sell a few copies of this. But it's just one of these things that he proved a point. He proved that he had the same resume as a white man as a black man. And the black man, he didn't get a lot of jobs. And he said, what's going on here? I think I proved the point. And he thought this book would go nowhere. It sold over 10 million copies. It's in like 40 languages. And it was the pinnacle in the 60s of saying, something is wrong. Something needs to be addressed here. And I just love the fact that I began, just as the book did, that, it's different when you're in another person's shoes. And he had a shoe shine person, I think in Louisiana, who shined the shoes. And at the end of the book, he goes in, and the same man shines the shoes. And the man who's looking down at the shoes says, I know these shoes. There's only one guy I ever know that had these shoes. And he's looking up at him, and he said, but he was black. And he said, I was that black man. I thought that was one of my favorite speeches.
Really touching. As you were speaking, it was really touching. Toastmaster Mike, thank you for sharing that. A food that you like to eat, Toastmaster Mike?
Basically any food, and only on days that end in Y. I'm a food. I love food. To me, it's interesting because there's food and there's the experiential experience of food. And I'm one of the older person that I used to grade places that I went, especially being a single guy. I had an expense account. I went to some of the greatest restaurants in America. I would have 4 marks: food, decor, service, and cost. And those are the 4 things that, if I were experiential, and I wasn't just a takeout, and I love takeout, no problem there, but the white linen, the whole experience of being waited on, about the chef talking about how I'm preparing this, or the maitre d' in a tuxedo with the white, you know what I'm saying, that, he has I call it the towel, it's linen. It's, I just love that experience of people who really enjoy the art of food and culinary experiences. It's a mind blower. On the other hand, Wally's Wieners, okay with me. I think it's amazing in America how many people, especially people who travel and eat out a lot, that in the morning, there was an article in the Wall Street Journal that this guy, he eats at McDonald's, and at evening he's at 21. It's just amazing how in America these things happen. I think the same thing for myself. That I'll go to some place that's Wally Wiener, and then I'll go to Bouchard, on Thames Street in Newport. That sort of thing.
Thank you for sharing that, Toastmaster Mike. That wraps up our rapid fire round. Is there anything else that you like to share with our audience today?
Well, I think I had a ball. I love you guys. I love I think Division, Division G is really great, really great. I do live both in Massachusetts and Rhode Island, so I look forward to growing the clubs and the experiences, and we're going to do some really great things. I think we're going to have a Pitch Your Passion contest, which is coming soon. We have a great PR guy, by the way, terrific. We have a great fabulous 4. I mean, that's why they're fabulous. I mean, there's just no way about it. I think the Toastmasters themselves, I've never met such a great bunch of people, and I mean that quite sincerely, in a mission, um, getting people to really emote, to really have a voice, and to make sure that voice is as best as it can be.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mike. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you choose to come down and talk to us. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Dear Toastmasters, that was our wonderful friend, Toastmaster Mike Ryan, Division G director, sharing his Toastmasters journey, the impact of Toastmasters on his personal life, professional life, the wonderful books that he recommended to us, and the nice food that he likes to eat. If you would like to come down and talk to us on our talk show, please do mention your name in our comment section. Please do like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I am Veera Sriram, your public relations manager. On that note, have a wonderful fall, stay healthy, and we will talk to you soon on our next episode. Until then, bye bye.